Hi, I'm Henry.
Hi, Andrea.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
Alika, how are you?
I'm good.
Nice to meet you, Doug.
It's a pleasure.
Hi, I'm Alex.
Hey, Alex, I'm Doug. Nice to meet you.
Just a little bit about myself. I'm a graphic designer and I work for a nonprofit. I have a little baby boy who's almost a year old.
I have 2 children and they're not babies. I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 17-year-old son.
I actually went to medical school when I was 15 in India and started practicing in the United States. I got married and had the 3 most beautiful children that one can ever imagine having.
I raised my family, and then around age 40, my friends convinced me to go to college. So I did, and became a social worker.
I have a brother and a sister that I'm very close with, and my mother and father are still together. They've been together for 30 plus years, and we're a very close family.
I enjoy the beach and spending time with my 9-month-old puppy, Snoopy, who I love with all my heart.
I consider myself a community activist. I work with people with addiction issues, people that are homeless.
What I really like to do is draw comic books. I've been doing it since I was in middle school. My diagnosis is schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type.
Borderline personality disorder.
PTSD.
Bipolar disorder.
My diagnosis is major depressive disorder. I think I tell my story so I don't forget where I've been.
I want to be able to dispel those myths that's out there about mental health conditions.
Yeah. I'm an actual person and I have a voice and I have a story to share. I started having symptoms of depression and who am I existential questions since I was 15. And I used to say to myself, I'm having my midlife crisis at 15 years old.
I was suffering from this unbeknownst to me for most of my life.
I was in my early 30s. I have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. My husband left for work, and I closed my bedroom door, and my sons were on the other side of that door, and I was done.
With depression, I would not go to work. I would call out of work for days on end.
I didn't eat. I slept all the time.
There was about a 3-year period in my life where everything I did and said was sort of a product of the world of delusions that I was living in.
For quite some time, I didn't even recognize my symptoms because hypomania can look organized to me. So I can get a lot done in a very little bit of time. And it didn't become a problem until they noticed that I wasn't sleeping for days on end.
I hallucinated every single day. I had hallucinations with all 5 senses. And then the anxiety sort of builds and builds and builds until it becomes kind of like a paranoia where, everything is sort of out to get you.
I couldn't express any normal emotions. I couldn't cry. I couldn't do so many things that people did, and it would bother me.
My way of dealing with it primarily was with drugs. And I know now that that's suicide on the installment plan.
I started using alcohol more. I started self-harming more. My friends, when I was a junior, saw the scars, and it was horrible. They judged me. They said that I was doing it for attention, and they didn't want to hang out with me.
I started self-medicating for a while, and not drugs or alcohol, but with gambling.
After I lost my job, I became homeless. I committed minor crimes to feed my drug habit, lived on the streets, and finally, eventually was arrested and sent to state prison.
As a result of my illness, it led to some criminal activities. I've served 5.5 years' time in prison. And when that happened is when all these things got unraveled.
Some people said bipolar disorder, some people said ADHD, some people said PTSD, and none of them seemed to make sense for me.
It was a diagnosis that evolved over time, several different hospitalizations, several different diagnoses until one eventually stuck.
When I was told with the depression, I didn't hear that word. What I heard was crazy. So since I knew I was not crazy, I couldn't accept that diagnosis.
We've all heard jokes about people with mental illness, people with mental health conditions. And the last thing I wanted to be was the punchline to someone's joke.
I was a special education teacher, so there were kids in my class that had ADHD or had bipolar disorder, and just listening to those teachers and how they talked about those kids, it didn't make me want to come out and share what I had just learned about myself.
I felt that I wouldn't be accepted and that all my work would be dismissed as, not credible because I had a mental illness.
For me, it's a cultural thing. So if you're dealing with mental health issues, you go to church. So I remember doing a lot of that.
I'm Hispanic, I'm Puerto Rican and Dominican, and our culture is mental health is taboo. You don't talk about it. So I struggled with really accepting that I had an issue.
I felt no one understood. Not even like my partner now, wife. I didn't think she really understood, even though she had a lot of compassion for me. I just felt very isolated and felt very alone. And there were times that I did contemplate suicide.
Christmas Day, took all of my pills and I was going to overdose, and I'm sitting at the edge of the bed with the pills all right there. It was never about being dead. It was just ending the pain. And these friends that somehow I've been blessed to have developed over the years knew something was wrong, but they found me.